Good evening, I'm St. Germaine.
Good evening, St.
Good evening.
Germaine.
I am so pleased to be here this evening. This is a momentous time in history. And as some of you know, that because of Marilyn's 2012 book, she announced when the energy shifted on the planet. But I am here to tell you that that shift has been a very gradual shift, and it is just now manifesting in the energy onto Earth. So even though it did occur, and some people said, well, I don't know what happened, nothing seemed to change, it's a very subtle evolution. In fact, it's been 2,000 years since Jesus came to help tell people that they could live in love and not just about the word love, because that was a new concept to them. And so gradually moving into this new concept is a very slow change in evolution for humanity. And I'm here to explain some further details about that tonight. Because if it happened very quickly and all of a sudden your energy in the circuits of your body would not be able to handle it all that much, and sadly your circuit would blow and you would end up in part of the hospital. They would probably label mental illness. You would not be able to handle it all at once. So it has been a very slow evolution. And now it's so exciting because the shift actually can manifest more vividly and more in your appearance, even though it's still subtle, and it's going to take another 10 years for a lot of things to really come into seeing the differences of what's going on. Gradually things are definitely shifting in your third dimensional world. In fact, they're shifting right out of it, and that's the demise of the third dimension. This energy is literally not sustaining third dimension any longer. So if you have been hanging on to not finishing your projects, not living in the now because you still have some anger or resentment towards somebody, you still haven't come into harmony in a situation that needs to be resolved, if you still have some loose ends, so to speak, or some projects that have been hanging on for a long time, needing to be looked at, if you still have some energy that is negative, that has not really been addressed, you've been dragging your feet, saying, oh, I'll get to that later, that energy has to leave, so you have to release it at this point if you're going to align with the planet. The planet is in fifth dimension, the energy is coming in stronger every day, which I've talked about in the past, and it's now time to say that the leftover residuals are on their way out because they cannot handle a higher level of energy and sustain any longer. So if you're aligning with the fifth dimension, and we'll explain it even more so in a minute, this is the time to go home and finish your inner house cleaning, so to speak. And it's not getting out the vacuum cleaner, it's getting out the note paper and the pen and pencil and writing down that people or places and things that are still upsetting you, because those are the things that are blocking your being in alignment with God's power and energy. You see, those things outside of you have distracted you from being in alignment with God. The truth and reality is there's only one power, and it's God's power. And every time you look outside to experts or books or other people to save you, which is what churches purport, you are giving away God's power to, you're focusing on those things rather than looking and focusing inside. You see, in the first commandment says it all. There is one God, and there shall be no other false gods before me. So if you are focusing on any person, place, or outside issue to help heal you or resolve things, help you in any way to sustain you, that's an illusion. It's not real. It is not of God's substance, because only what God creates is real. And anything outside of you would be having come from your ego, which is not real. So anything out there is like a mirage or a fantasy maybe you had, that maybe somebody finally would wake up and smell the roses. Well, to change that and just change yourself is the only thing that is really going to work for you now. Other people, places, and things, if they choose to align with God, that's their choice. there's nothing you can do to really assist them at this point, rather than send love to them and support them in whatever changes come up for them, so they can walk through it as hopefully as lovingly as possible. So you love them so they can love themselves. That's the only real way you can help others, especially at this point, because any other focus is going to be a false god, and to take your power away from reality. And the planet at this point will not support that any longer. So as you have been easily distracted in many ways, and your power has been taken away from you in many ways, I have appeared on the planet Earth in many, many lifetimes. Some of the more familiar ones is the French Revolution. I have done, part of my major focus has been to empower the population and take them out of the tyranny or slavery that the powers of the dark forces have been perpetuating ever since Atlantis. It has been a very slow, well thought out plan to take over your consciousness and do the bidding of those that are the few feeling that they know more than you do. So in this case, I have chosen, part of my mission is to help those people that have been bamboozled, you might say, to find freedom in their life. And so I was part of the French Revolution, helping to free those people from monarchy. I also was in part of your Constitution when it was written, and your Declaration of Independence. Because again, America was to be a land where people were to have their freedom of choice, their human rights, and they would not have to bow to others and other authorities above them, as you would with a monarchy. So you see, I have been in very many ways, not only helping people to come out of the governments, as you might say, because in governments there is governing, and when you have governments, it is not a free society. It is actually dominated by those in power. And you will be moving out of that power-driven type of economy, banking, financial enslavement, which they have very carefully perpetuated through the money system, and also the corporations which have been dominating your life. And you have been moving out of the Constitution that I helped write, because that has been eroded. So you see, it's time for things to move. The pendulum has swung so far to one side. We are ready to come back to the center, and as that pendulum moves closer to the center, you will see more changes going on in various parts of your life. You will be actually attracting more wonderful, positive energy to you in many ways. You'll say, oh, that's wonderful. Marilyn has had some marvelous energies being attracted to her that have solved some issues and problems she had, and it was like it came to her doorstep. So it was a miracle. She called it a miracle. And those things are going to be happening for you as you align with the fifth dimension, which you are now in. So it's a matter of seeing where your distractions have been and maybe changing that. I wanted to advise you, it's time to turn off your televisions. That is a major, major distraction. Television and movies and mass media have purposely been orchestrated to direct your thinking away from your God consciousness. It might be very subtle, but it is definitely keeps your vibrations in a lower energy and takes away the power, just as if you were focusing on someone to save you. It just is unproductive and actually releases you from being where you want to be. It's dwindling your energy rather than keeping it contained within you, which is where your power always has been. All energy is within you. All answers are within you. And you are, when you meditate, you go inside and you are actually given the guidance for that. And we're going to be able to help you today to even do that in a better, more productive way through the program tonight. So as you are changing your focus from the media and the magazines and the newspapers and all that propaganda that they have been very insidiously perpetuating their agenda, and sadly through the education of schools and changing the history books and how you do various math computations, all these things that they have distorted and changed, all of that is totally non-productive and is totally out of reality. And so they also have, those forces have created, as you've heard on the news, GMOs and other toxic substances such as medical protocol, which is very toxic because medicines are drugs, and drugs are chemicals and they're poisonous. Vaccinations are not really meant to heal you anymore. They're actually meant to produce the problem that you're taking it to solve, and the government is no longer liable for any lawsuits for damages from vaccinations. They've had so many that financially the drug companies couldn't hold up to the lawsuits financially, and they very kindly got the government to protect them. And so lawsuits have been stopped for any medical repercussions from vaccinations, and the poor families that are suffering, the children who have suffered from the results of those vaccinations are having difficult times. I suggest that you check out the documentary called Bot. It explains quite a bit of the predicament. It includes some of the information about GMOs and other toxic substances in your food, such as anything manufactured would have something toxic added to it. They have infiltrated the whole food market with high fructose corn syrup. Soy is GMO at this point. Anything with soy in your food or corn syrup. Aspartame, any other sugar supplements are all toxic. They are not healthy. You might just want to start using organic sugar or stevia. So you see, everything has been pretty adulterated at this point in time. And so as you're moving into fifth dimension, this is the safest place to be. You are not giving your power to those things outside of you to hurt you and harm you. You are self-contained when you move into fifth dimension. And until that is totally complete, I suggest that you be very cautious of what you put in your body, whatever foods that you're eating. Focus more on the organic. If you can raise your own, it's even better. And because your elements from the ground of your own home are exactly the elements you need for your system. So buying organic is marvelous, but when you grow your own, it's even better, because somehow nature has worked out a plan that the nutrients in your own yard are those that are actually the substances you need for your nutritional needs of your body. So isn't that amazing how nature comes together to support us? I am here to say that it's been very interesting how all this distraction of what's going on in the various aspects of the world and the country are definitely not being related to you as they truly are happening. The economies of other countries and the difficulties and so forth are definitely being misrepresented. That's why, to turn the TV off, you're not going to be hearing information that isn't truthful in the first place. And what's really important is taking care of yourself and doing the activities necessary for your life, letting those things fall together in God's plan and not worrying about it, because worry takes, again, your focus off of God. There's only one law, the law of love, and anything else will take away your energy from you if you're focusing on it. And so I want to share today how you are moving into fifth dimension in a way you probably have not heard before. So to take away those distractions by reading inspirational material and books and watching inspirational movies are much more beneficial to you today. There are ways to have wonderful music in your life and activities like watching the sunset and those kinds of beautiful things of listening to the birds or being out in nature. There's a million things you can do that would be much, much more constructive. And so we would recommend those things to you to help keep your energy high in the focus of God consciousness. You probably have always been taught that your humanness on planet Earth was who you are. And that has been, again, propaganda turned around to use against you, so you don't know the truth, that you truly are a soul, not just on earth, but you are a soul that is in fifth dimension. In fact, your soul in fifth dimension is larger than the soul that came to earth to go through karma. You are actually a fifth dimensional soul. And in changing those distractions and healing those relationships that you need to work on and projects to complete, you're actually moving your soul into oneness. Instead of thinking of yourself as a human being having a spiritual experience, think of yourself as a spiritual being removing your human faults. Because that's where you are. You are at the threshold of the old age leaving and the threshold of the new age beginning. And so as you realize you are combining your soul through purifying all that negative energy and letting the consciousness rise within you, you are purifying your soul so it can marry your spiritual nature. And that's the true marriage. It is combining your spirit with the spirit of the universe, your soul energy to the natural loving soul of what we would call God's love. And marrying that together is who you are. And you went into earth to change energy. That's not who you were. You are a light worker. You always have been of the light. You volunteered to come and do this. That wasn't your project, was to stay in third dimension. You came to remove the negative energy so the light of your being could raise planet Earth into the fifth dimension. That was your purpose. You have accomplished your purpose by just coming to Earth and listening to meditations, doing your own meditation, working in your life in a productive, loving ways that you people in here have accomplished. This is a very special group tonight. You people have done a great deal, not just this lifetime, but in many lifetimes, of raising your consciousness. In the Bible, they called it Jacob's ladder. You see, you have been going up in consciousness out of the fears that have been produced through the violence and the wars and all the abandonment issues that you have survived, all the rejection and the pity and the shame and all the poor me's. Why did this happen to me? All of those were karmic things that needed to be healed with God's love. And you people in this room have very high consciousness connection with God. So it is time to say adios to third dimension. You are not even in it anymore. The planet isn't in it. You have literally raised yourself through your wonderful actions, and that's how energy moves, is action. Your actions to say, I choose to choose God as my focus. I choose to move into Christ consciousness. And that's what Jesus came to show us, that it's possible. The Old Testament was very much rules. The Ten Commandments were rules. Do not do this, don't do that. All the things you shouldn't do, all the rules. And they were at one point important to the people, so they had an understanding of morality. Jesus came to show us that we can do it without rules. There is a law of love in the universe that is in all of us, and it's only been blocked by the fears that have been perpetuated and distorted and taken our focus off of God. So there is no power in the darkness. It's just a change to focus where the power is. When you realize all there is God, and all those things in the past that caused you difficulty, to see them through the eyes of being neutral. They weren't good, they weren't bad. Those people came to play their parts so you could change that energy. It's time to thank them for the part they played with you, to show you that that was still what you needed to do for your light to shine inside, to remove the darkness which was covering up your light. And as you came into that new space through your meditations and your loving actions, your loving thoughts, words that you're communicating, caring, kind comments to others and yourself, and you have moved into that fifth dimension just because you came and worked on your karma. You brought Earth into managing to move out of its demise where it was actually dying. You came out of choice as a light worker to bring your light. And your light in the people in this room shines brightly. You have done your job extremely well. You are merging your spiritual soul with your spiritual nature. You are becoming that fifth dimensional person on earth. You are bringing heaven to earth. The people in this room are doing it right now. The people listening to this on YouTube are doing it right now, or you would not be listening. You see, it says in the Lord's Prayer as we opened up this evening, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. See, God is whole, hallowed. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. God's will is love, on earth as it is in heaven. And when people passed over, you called it sometimes death, but it was a passing into the other side where it was just love, and people called that heaven. That is what you're bringing to earth. The veil has parted. You are bringing and living in heaven on earth. You have brought love to the planet. You are to be commended. You are to be joyfully celebrating and to realize there is nothing to worry, that God's love will heal the remaining distractions, the remaining difficulties on the planet Earth. They sometimes feel, if you listen to the news, it feels just like it could never happen, but that's the news. They're not telling you any hope. They're not telling you to trust and have faith that God, all things that God does are healthy and loving and good, and that God's power is the only power today that will survive, because nothing else can survive. It's not sustainable. So you see that you are in a place where you are become vulnerable, open to God's love, and you are sharing it with yourself and others, passing that love out wherever you go, helping and being there of assistance and service, service and love. That's your main goal today, is being of service wherever you can be of assistance. You carry that love within you and pass it on to others. But it's not your love that you're passing on. It's God using you as a conduit. You are not a good person. God, only Jesus said, only God is good. In your humility, you open yourself. You are vulnerable enough that that love passes through you to those things that are in your life that you are sharing and caring about, that you are assisting and helping and adding to their situation in positive ways for them to be a better, whatever is the prognosis of the outcome and results of a situation. So you see cause and effect. You're the cause of good. The good is flowing through you to others and other situations around you. To help increase this ability and cognizance of it and awareness when you sit in meditation, and which is fifth dimension, you are in a moment of stillness. Excuse me. Stillness, compassion, and silent joy. Before, your feelings were very extreme, very fearful, dramatic, or else they were very excitingly over the board, over the top, in anticipation maybe of a particular event or experience that you were going through. And you are bringing your emotions into being in the center, grounded. You aren't reacting extremely in one direction, positive, or extremely in the other. You are reacting in a rational way, handling it calmly with loving solutions. They will come to you. Your guidance will give you the answers for how to proceed. That's all you need to do. Instead of turn on the television, just sit down with a period of meditation and ask for your marching instructions. What are your directions or guidance for your next project? What does God have in store for you? It might not be what you plan to do that day. Surprise, surprise. If you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. So you see, your plans might go astray for a period of time, but doing what God has you doing in the next few minutes, days, whatever that experience is that you hear from that silent voice, I suggest you listen to it and follow through on your inner guidance. That will bring you the grace of God. When you seek ye first the kingdom of God, all things will be added. Your needs will be taken care of. They will show up like Marilyn on her doorstep. You do not have to go out there and make life happen for you. This is your wants or desires. God knows what you want. God knows what you need. And it will come in spirit and manifest in the right way for you. It might be a little different than you pictured, but it will be the perfect answer for you. I am so thrilled to be able to share with you that you have moved into the fifth dimension. You have accomplished what you came to do. You are now not just living, what I want to say, you are not just surviving and knowing the word love, but you are going to be experiencing love, and this is what John is going to help you with tonight. You are moving out of having cleaned your chakras into making them move into even a higher range of consciousness this evening. You are a select group, and not everybody is ready for this. So feel very proud of yourself. It is okay to feel good about yourself. That's what God's about, is feeling good. The presence of God. When you're feeling good, you know you're doing God's will. If you don't feel good, you say, oh, I'm off track, and what do I need to do to get back into feeling good? So you can change your focus as soon as you recognize it nowadays. Very quickly and easily you can say, okay, what do I need to do different in this situation so I feel good again, and I know I'm back on track. That is your birthright. That is who you are. You are a fifth dimensional person who always have been. It was just your lower self that came to earth. Your higher self has always stayed in that fifth dimension and has been your guidance all along if you were aware and paying attention. You have always had the bigger part of you with all the power and love you ever needed. However, so many people were not aware they could draw on that for meditation. And now that you know, as you're merging into knowing that all of you, your whole spirit will be in that fifth dimension. You are no longer a victim in the third dimension. It has left the planet, just like Elvis has left the building. The third dimension has left. So some of you might have thought, well, I'm still living on earth. Yes, you are, but you're living in heaven on earth. And that's my greeting for you tonight. Welcome to heaven. It just gets better. So I bid you afternoon and evening today be a lovely one, and that you enjoy your new experiences, knowing you are safe, protected, and always have been secure in God's love. That higher part of you, your higher self, has always been there with you, making sure that things went like they needed to go, and you could draw on that. And today you can still draw on that as you're merging with your higher self into the oneness that you have always been. This is often called Christ consciousness. And it is no mystery today what Christ consciousness means. I'll tell you a little secret. Third dimension was about being immature and acting out like a, you might say, a rebellious teenager. I would like to say you people have grown up and matured into Christ consciousness. You are now mature adults living in a beautiful, loving environment, balance, prosperity, and abundance, and especially the state of joy. So enjoy your joy, knowing that you have done very well in your spiritual path. You have done so well that you have really made an influence. It's hard sometimes to understand that just the simplest little kind thing you do, or the smile you give somebody, adds more power to them and the planet. And you have done this in not just minor little ways, but some of you in some very major ways. So acknowledge your accomplishments, how well you have listened to directions, that your Heavenly Father has been guiding you through all of these trials and tribulations out of your karma, which is now no longer in your life because the light of God has dispelled the darkness. You are now in the light of God, the fifth dimension. Knowing the karma has been completed, welcome to a new land, of which will be a great joy for you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Germaine.